Ever wonder about the thin line separating world peace from a third world war? As we navigate through the complexities of international relations in 2024, one cannot ignore the escalating tensions between Russia and Ukraine. This conflict, once regional, now threatens to evolve into a global crisis as nations across the world take sides, directly or indirectly. It's like a high-stakes game of chess, with each move potentially sparking a chain reaction that could engulf the world. Why, you may ask, should a dispute thousands of miles away matter to us? The answer lies in the intricate web of geopolitics. Israel, for instance, has historically maintained neutrality in this conflict, but recent shifts in policy suggest a changing dynamic. The ripple effects of these changes reach far beyond the borders of Russia and Ukraine, reshaping global alliances and strategies. But the Russia-Ukraine conflict is just one piece of a larger puzzle. The world today is a stage for numerous other conflicts, each capable of escalating into something much larger and more dangerous. From territorial disputes in the South China Sea to the ongoing strife in the Middle East, these hotspots serve as kindling to a potential global inferno. What's more, the involvement of nations in these conflicts isn't always overt. The clandestine supply of weapons, the sharing of intelligence, the strategic alliances, all these factors contribute to a simmering tension that could boil over at any moment. And then there's the elephant in the room: nuclear warfare. The potential use of these weapons of mass destruction presents a terrifying scenario, one that brings us closer to a doomsday clock striking midnight than ever before. The specter of a nuclear winter with its devastating effects looms large over humanity. So as we stand on the precipice of what could be the Third World War, we must ask ourselves, are we merely spectators, or are we unwitting participants? As the world watches, the question remains, are we already in the midst of World War III? To understand the potential of a global conflict, we must first delve into the Russia-Ukraine war. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine didn't occur in a vacuum. It's a complex tapestry woven over many years with threads of history, politics, and international alliances. The conflict's inception dates back to 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, a move that caught the world's attention. Since then, the situation has escalated, with skirmishes and confrontations becoming a part of the everyday life along the eastern Ukraine borders. However, the dynamics of this conflict took a pivotal turn in the year 2023. A historic event that is worth noting is the surprising shift in Israel's position. The nation, under the leadership of Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, maintained a neutral stance, even fostering relations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, upon the return of former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to office, there was a marked shift in policy towards supporting Ukraine, a shift that was potentially influenced by a desire to improve relations with the Biden administration. Meanwhile, on the economic front, the war had a significant impact on natural gas prices. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, gas prices in Europe and the United States plummeted to pre-crisis levels, thanks to a combination of factors including warmer weather, increased gas storage, and reduced demand. Despite this decrease, European gas prices remain high compared to historical averages, pointing to the complexities and far-reaching impacts of this war. The conflict's escalation has also seen the involvement of other nations, albeit indirectly. Many countries have provided humanitarian aid to Ukraine, while others have shared intelligence and even weapons. This involvement of multiple nations in the conflict is one of the reasons why some argue that we may already be in the throes of a third world war. The war, as it stands, has the world on the brink, raising fears of a broader, more devastating conflict. The potential for this to escalate into a global conflict, possibly even a nuclear one, is a chilling prospect that we cannot ignore. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: the potential for nuclear warfare. Some say the shadow of this unprecedented danger is cast more prominently now than it ever was during the Cold War era. The current conflict, involving nations supplying arms to both sides, has raised concerns that we might already be in the throes of a third world war. The consequences of this escalating to nuclear warfare are too grave to be ignored. The doomsday clock, a symbolic representation of how close we are to a global catastrophe, is closer to midnight or doomsday than ever before. The minute hand inches forward with each passing day, each escalation, each aggressive policy. It's a chilling reminder that the threat of nuclear warfare is not just a hypothetical scenario. The devastating effects of nuclear warfare are beyond our worst nightmares. The immediate impact of a nuclear explosion is just the beginning. The aftermath would bring about what's known as a nuclear winter. This is a period of abnormal cold and darkness predicted to follow a large-scale nuclear war, caused by the blockage of sunlight from the soot arising from the fires ignited by the nuclear explosions. Agriculture would collapse, starvation would follow, the world as we know it would change dramatically. Radiation exposure, another horrifying consequence of nuclear warfare, has long-term effects. It can cause sickness, genetic damage, and death. It can render areas uninhabitable for years, even centuries. The fallout would affect not just the warring nations, but potentially every corner of our planet. In conclusion, the potential for a global nuclear war spurred by the ongoing conflict is a clear and present danger. It's not just about the war between two nations anymore, it's about the survival of humanity itself. The threat of nuclear warfare is no longer a distant dread, but a looming reality. In the face of such potential devastation, what can we as individuals do? This question might seem overwhelming, but remember, every journey starts with a single step. One of the most powerful weapons we have in our arsenal is knowledge. By staying informed about world affairs, we can better understand the gravity of the situation. We mustn't shy away from the uncomfortable realities of our world, but rather we should strive to confront them head-on. Comprehending the potential consequences of escalating conflicts helps us appreciate the imperative for peace. Moreover, it's crucial to remember that our voices, our actions, they matter. Engage in discussions, promote peaceful dialogues, and support actions that foster harmony. It might sound cliché, but every drop makes an ocean. Each of us has a role to play in promoting peace and preventing conflicts. Being a bystander is not an option when the stakes are this high. So let's step up, let's be proactive, let's strive to make a difference. Remember, it is our collective responsibility not just to prevent the Third World War, but to ensure the survival and prosperity of humanity.